Alright, let's start. Hi there, owls. Welcome back to JoanMedia, the channel where you can learn about testing, automation, technology, and marketing in the future. Welcome back to this beautiful channel. Today we're gonna have a very interesting video too about TestCafe and how the configuration file works. Alright, so let's try to take a look of the official documentation about this feature of TestCafe. Let's try to understand how it works. And well, I hope that this video results in helpful information for you. All right, let's start working with this. I'm gonna start, or actually keep working with the project where or actually the project that we have been developing actually. All right, and all right, I'm gonna just clone this project right over here, and I'm gonna click on copy, and I am going to clone this repository in my computer. I just want to let you know that this repository is totally free for you. If you want to download this and try your own stuff in it, you're free to do it. The idea is to understand and learn, all of us, about TestCafe. All right, so I have just a clone. I hope the directory, or actually my project, right, and I am fine. I'm just going to get inside of the project that I have downloaded, and I'm gonna go and enter cd TestCafe tutorial, and I am inside, right? If I check the packages and folders, they are inside of this folder, right? I'm fine. Now I have to download and install my dependencies. That's it. And I just want to let you know that probably this video is gonna be based on how to take screenshots and with TestCafe, right? Screenshots and videos. So if you want to learn how to actually integrate this, how to take screenshots and videos for your scripts and the framework itself, you can go ahead and click on this particular video, and probably I'm gonna let you or I'm gonna try to configure a pop-up card in the video to, if you want to go ahead and check it out, you're free to do it. So once I have downloaded my dependencies, the node module folder is currently downloaded, and I'm gonna actually open a new window with Visual Studio Code. All right, I'm just gonna open folder, look for documents where I have downloaded my project. Then I'm gonna click inside of the TestCafe tutorial, and I'm going to select the folder itself. Once I've done that, I'm inside of my framework, right? And I'm gonna perform a test just to make sure that everything is working fine. I'm going to actually run, for example, the TestCafe assertions. That's another video that I have made. If you want to learn about assertions in TestCafe, please go ahead and click on the pop-up card that you will see in this video, or actually, if you come here to my channel, you will see that I have this TestCafe assertion video if you want to learn about it. So I'm gonna just run that particular script to see if it works fine. Test assertions, and if it does, it should be opening a Google Chrome instance, right? Yeah. And the assertion test should be working fine. I hope so. Let's see. Amazing. And I have 4 of the test scenarios or scripts skipped, and one of them is currently working, and it is working fine. The assertion has passed correctly. So all right, the idea of this video, right, is to understand how to use and actually integrate the configuration file in our framework, right? So what we're gonna do, understand what the hell is this. Let's see. It says that TestCafe uses that TestCafe Src.json configuration file to store its settings. It says that settings, it has a note, alright, and it says that the settings you specify when you run TestCafe from the command line and programming interfaces override settings from TestCafe Src.json. That's something to have in mind, alright? And TestCafe will let you know when it happens, and it is gonna display a message in the console. It is something to have in mind. Alright, let's see. It says that keep TestCafe Src.json file in the directory from which you run TestCafe. This is usually the project's root directory. TestCafe doesn't take into account configuration files located in other directories. So, for instance, projects subdirectories. So let's start working with this. Let's see how it works. It says also that the configuration file supports JSON5 syntax. So we have a very interesting video over here to understand the basic, how the JSON5 works. If you want to go ahead and take a look, you are free to do it. And let's see. Let's start working with this. How we can start working. So we have to create this configuration file in the root directory, as we can see in the official documentation. I'm gonna try to get this window with better with better zoom, right? With better I'm not sure how to say this in English. With better display settings, I'm not sure. With 100% of zoom, yeah. And we're gonna create that folder right now. So I'm gonna create actually a file named TestCafe Rc.json. All right, so let's do it. That TestCafe Rc.json, and I think that I wrote down everything fine. TestCafe Rc.json, and that's it. So right now we have created our configuration file successfully. So what we're gonna start to do? Well, basically configure the things that we want to have in a single configuration file. For example, if our suite almost ever works or actually execute our scripts in a Google Chrome browser, we can specify that configuration file to point to Chrome. So let's start doing that. It is just with this line over here. So as you can see, we have opened an object, a JSON file, and we can start actually entering different parameters here. So let's see what else. For example, we can also specify different browsers. If we want to run our test in Internet Explorer and Firefox, we can do it. But in this particular case, I just want to work with Chrome. And let's see what else. For example, it says that if you want to work with cloud browsers, for example, Browser Stack or Sauce Labs, we have this line over here, which is the normal one for example, Browser Stack. I hope that in the future I can hopefully I can bring you a video about how to configure TestCafe with Browser Stack. I hope so. Well, let's see what else. If you want, we can also specify the source of the tests that we want to specify, right? So let me give you better context about this. So I'm gonna just copy that source line, all right, and I'm gonna specify that I want to run my TestCafe data-driven script. All right, I'm gonna try to emulate this script with a single configuration file. So I have to copy this path because this is the path where my scripts about data-driven are. So I'm just gonna copy this, actually paste this. All right, and there it is. Now my configuration file is currently pointing to data-driven. All right, and all the JS files inside of the data-driven folder. Now the configuration file is pointing to that particular file, yes, that particular path and folders. And let's do something else. For example, if you take a look of the script, we have skipJsErrors at the end of my scripts. It is basically to avoid our test execution to be stopped unexpectedly. since there is a console error message in the browser, right? So how we can do that in our TestCafe Src.json file, basically, well, with another key and value, which is basically skipJsErrors, and it is gonna be equal, or actually the value will be true, and that's it. And I'm gonna try to run my data-driven script, but with the TestCafe Src.json file. So I'm gonna open up and create a new script named configuration conf file. I'm not sure, I just want to run my test, alright? And I'm gonna specify here that I want to run TestCafe, nothing else, because it is gonna bring and actually pull the changes that we have done in the TestCafe Src.json with all the parameters that we have set over here. So if I probably run this command, hopefully say the CLS, hopefully it should be working fine. Let's see, test conf file, and probably, and I am expecting to have the same results, well, actually with this particular mode, as you can see right now. Well, just specifying TestCafe my script, it is gonna take all the parameters that we have specified in the configuration file, and now it is working correctly. Let's see. It seems to be working fine until now, and let's see, it is gonna end in a few seconds, and there it is, I guess. Yeah, there it is. So you can see, well, we have right, yeah, we have executed our let's see, TestCafe run test confile script, right? And my scripts were executed successfully using the parameters that we have set over here. It looks fine, right? And all right, let's keep watching the official documentation to see what else we can do with the configuration file. It says that if we want to define a reporter, we can do it, and well, we have different options for it. I hope that I can make a video about different reports that we have in market for or actually get better reports in with HTML, for example. But let's continue. So over here we have another option, which is how to configure the screenshots. If you remember in the last video, well, we have specified different parameters in the test data driven script over here with the tags video or the tag -s. We're gonna try to do that, but just inside of the TestCafe Src.json, right? So how we can do that? We're gonna create another key, which is gonna be named screenshots, all right? And it is gonna be the value will be an object. I'm sorry. And inside of this object, we're gonna have a path where I want to actually save my screenshots. And it is gonna be something like the root directory where we are, all right? And then I'm gonna create a configuration folder, all right? Configuration file folder, and inside of this folder, I'm going to create a folder named screenshots, all right? And as you can see, well, my screenshots are gonna be saved in this particular folder. I'm gonna just, all right. There it is. Now I'm gonna specify also that I want to take screenshots also when something fails. So if I place this new key, take conf fails over here, you will see that probably if I configure this for true, it is gonna take snapshots or screenshots as soon as an assertion fails. All right. And also we can specify if we want to take or actually if we want to take the screenshots in full page mode, we can go ahead and do it too. True, and there it is. Now we have specified well the the root directory where we want to store our screenshots. And probably if I run this this script again, let's go ahead and do it, and let's take a look of the results that we have got. All right. I'm sorry if I sound kind of differently. I'm kind of sick right now. I think so. Right, it is gonna fail in the first test case. If you remember the last video, you will remember that because it was very clear. If you haven't seen that, please go ahead and watch it. And it is actually taking a snapshot or a screenshot of every single test, and it should also create a different screenshot for the fail. If you remember, this is what is going to happen. So I'm going to take a look of this, and as you can see, it has created a folder named configuration file, and inside of the configuration file we have a screenshots folder, and inside of it we can see that as we saw in the last video, it has created a folder with the date, and inside of it we have the test cases that fails, which was the first one. If you remember that correctly, this is something that we have covered in the last video, so please go ahead and watch it if you haven't watched that. And as you can also remember, inside of the screenshots, all right, because we have defined in the assertion folder and the assertion file, I'm sorry, no, it is not an assertion, it is data driven. An example, we have specified to take snapshots or screenshots arbitrarily every time that we execute our script. And as you can see here, we have created the test screenshots that I have defined in this path, and inside of this path I have created three different snapshots. And as you can see, we have three different scenarios over here, and that's how we can configure the screenshots path and in general configuration in our configuration file. So let's continue. This is an interesting video, right? This is something different that we can do actually. All right. I'm sorry. And let's take a look at the official documentation. It also says that we can take screenshots of fails. That's something that we have done, and also we can specify the video path. If you remember last video, we also were capable to record videos when the test scripts were executed, so we can do the same thing right now. All right, I'm gonna create a new key and value, and the key is gonna be named video path. All right, and inside of this video path we can specify where my video is gonna be recorded. So I'm gonna specify the root directory, then I'm gonna use the same folder that I have created before with the configuration file for the screenshots, and inside of this folder I'm gonna create another folder which is gonna be named videos. All right, we have differentiated our files, and if I run this again, as you will see, let's take a look. It should be recording every single script in our in our folder, in our framework. Let's see if it works correctly. Well, this script is actually failing because we decided to have it that way, and it is taking the snapshot, it is taking the video right now. Then we have another scenario, it is taking the snapshot again, probably the video too, and the final scenario is your password is invalid. It is taking the snapshot and the video, and it should be saving our files in the test folder. And I'm gonna try to show you. If we take a look at the configuration file, it has created a new folder named videos, and inside of videos it has created a folder with the current date, and as you can see we have videos for every single test we have performed. And that's how the configuration file can help us to get this saved as evidence if you want. That's something good, right? So let's continue with another configuration that I think so. Let's see. right? Video path. We can also specify with video options to only take or record video in case of a failure. If you remember, that's basically what it is. And we can specify other configurations over there. We can have only a single video, etc, etc. So let's see what else. Video encoding options, quarantine mode. If you want to go ahead and actually enable this mode, you can go ahead and do it. If you want to have the debug mode enabled, you can just specify true over here. If you want to debug on fail, you just have to click or actually define debug on fail is true in the JSON file. If we want to actually ignore JavaScript errors on a web page, which is the thing that we have done at the beginning of this video, if you remember, you just have to enter this line. I'm sorry, video issues. And I just want to take advantage of this moment to actually ask you for a subscription. I know that probably you are here and maybe you are not subscribed. I will appreciate if you do that, because it is gonna help me a lot. All right, so let's continue. And we have different options. For example, if we want to filter our tests based on our metadata, or actually for example the task rep, or the fixture name, for example, or for example the task meta, there is a lot of possibilities that we can do. Just configuring that in our configuration file with this particular key filter, and inside of the filter we can specify the test meta and the different meta options or configurations that we have defined. If you want to learn about metadata and how to filter tests, you can go ahead and click on this particular video of TestCafe metadata filter, and you will understand more about it. And I think that there is another interesting thing, which is concurrency. If you remember correctly, in this video we also take a look about concurrency, but it is actually that we can specify the number of browser instances that should run tests concurrently. TestCafe opens several instances of the same browser and creates a pool of browser instances. Tests are run concurrently against this pool. That is, each test run in the first free instance. For example, let's go ahead and review that again. I think that we have enough time to do that. Right, and as you can see here, I have defined that the concurrency is the value is 3. I'm gonna exchange that to the number 2, and if I run again the test scenario, I'm just gonna actually modify the JSON file to have this working as expected. I'm sorry. And if I run this again, let's go ahead and execute this. And as you will see, it is gonna open two different browsers. It is gonna open two Google Chrome instances, and it is gonna be a pool. As soon as one of them is free, the another one test can be executed in this particular test case. So that's something to have in mind. If it is possible and your computer have enough power to do this, it is a way to have better performance in your framework, right? So that's another configuration that we can set. For example, we can specify I'm sorry, the selectorTimeout. Basically, it is gonna specify the time in milliseconds within which selectors attempt to obtain a node to be returned. Basically, it is gonna wait, or we can configure the timeout value that we want to wait until a specific selector is found. Also, we can actually configure the assertionTimeout just using this value, and wait if you want to wait for a few seconds more than 3000. We can go ahead and do it. It is gonna help us to have more time to get attempts to successfully execute an assertion, basically. There is also another timeout configuration that we can do, and it is basically the page load timeout. It is going to specify the time passed after the DOM content loader event, within which TestCafe waits for the windows that load event on the fire. So the default value is this one. If you want to go ahead and change that, you will be well, free to do it. We can also specify the speed of our test execution. So if we want to, we just have to, well, copy this speed, for example, configure that in our configuration file, and as you can see, well, we have different ranges. All right, the number one is the fastest way to execute our scripts. As you can see, it is the default value, but we can do it in the slowest mode, which is 0.01. So I'm gonna execute my scripts again with the speed with the value 0.1, and you will see how the execution is gonna be slow. Now let's see. All right, I'm sorry. And as you can see, it is gonna be typing, and actually, well, slowly comparing with the results that we have or that we saw in the last execution, right? As you can see, it is pretty slow, but it is a configuration that we can do it, that we can do, and we can set in case we have a scenario that will actually needs that particular approach. That's good. I think that it is another interesting option, and there is a lot of other well, actually arguments that we can pass, but I think that right now we have well, I'm happy with the things that we have done and covered in this video, and I hope that well, actually let a like in this video if you like that. Please let me know in the comment section below if you like that too, or if you don't. Let me know your feedback. I will be more than open to actually listen up and listen to your feedback. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed it yet. Thank you very much for watching this video, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.